This story is called The Shack in the Woods. Once upon a time, in a remote corner of the woods, there lived an old woman in a ramshackle shack. She was known to be a recluse and rarely ventured out into the world. She was infested with every type of critter imaginable, from rats to roaches and even snakes. But she didn't mind. In fact, she cherished them as her own little family. Despite her reputation, the old woman had a sinister habit of inviting unsuspecting victims to her home for dinner. She would lure them in with the promise of a warm meal and a cozy fire. But little did they know that they were actually the meal. The old woman would serve them up to her critters, who would gobble them up without a second thought. The old woman carried on like this for many years, undiscovered by the outside world. But one fateful night, as she was dozing off to sleep, she felt a sharp pain in her leg. Looking down, she saw that one of her beloved critters had bitten her. She didn't think much of it at first, but soon the bites kept coming from every direction. She realized too late that her little family had turned on her, seeing her as nothing more than a meal themselves. The critters devoured the old woman, leaving nothing but bones and scraps behind. It wasn't until days later, when the stench became unbearable, that the authorities finally discovered the gruesome scene. The shack was infested with every type of critter imaginable, and it took months to eliminate them all. The nearby townsfolk were horrified by the discovery and warned their children to stay away from their infested house. The nearby townsfolk were horrified by the discovery and warned their children to stay far away from the infested house. They even created a lullaby to remind their little ones of the dangers that lurk within. The lullaby sounded something like this.
Stay far away from the shack in the woods, where every critter creeps and crawls. For the old woman who lived there alone invited her guests to be devoured whole. Her family of critters turned on her and ate her up in the dead of night. So stay far away, my little dears, and don't let them give you a fright.